Your number 7 Texas Tech Red Raiders head out west for a Big 12 matchup out in the desert against the defending Big 12 champions in the Arizona State Sun Devils. In today's video, we'll discuss everything you need to know in terms of players to watch, the latest injury updates, not only for QB1 for the Red Raiders, but QB1 for the Sun Devils, as well as take a look at the latest odds, and I'll give my score prediction. Let's get to it. Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's RC Maxfield here for the Red and Black Report. Appreciate y'all tuning in to today's video. It will be a jam-packed one as Texas Tech heads out on the road again in Big 12 play. You think about how many road games the Red Raiders have played so far in the Big 12, and, well, it's going to be 3, and then you're only going to have 1 at home. So that's good in terms of home cooking later on in the slate. But before we get too much into this preview, you know what I got to ask you here on the channel. Let me know your score prediction for number 7 Texas Tech at Arizona State down on the pinned comment below. Stay around for my score prediction after we discuss the odds. Probably won't shock anybody, but it's going to be an interesting game because there's a lot to discuss for the Arizona State Sun Devils, and that's, I think, where we need to start in this. Let's start with the caveat of this. Sam Leavitt, the quarterback for the Sun Devils, is practicing and getting the first-team reps. At the time of this recording, he did the same thing leading up to the Utah game a week ago, but instead Jeff Sims started against the Utah Utes out in Salt Lake City, and the Utes, well, BTA, belt to you-know-what, against the Sun Devils last weekend in Salt Lake City, a pretty wet Salt Lake City, I might add, 42-10. The Arizona State Sun Devils are no longer ranked. The biggest question coming into this matchup for the Sun Devils is, are they going to have QB1, number 10, Sam Leavitt, under center? That's the biggest question, because I'll put it this way. If Sam Leavitt plays, they have a shot to win the game, okay? If Sam Leavitt doesn't play and it's Jeff Sims, I do not know how the hell the Sun Devils score against this top 5 Texas Tech defense in all of college football. You thought that offense looked bad in Salt Lake City against Utah. Look what Texas Tech did to them. Okay, you are now facing off against easily the best defense in the Big 12. If you are the Sun Devils, you have to have Sam Leavitt. Let's go ahead and look at the leaders in terms of stats for Arizona State, Sam Leavitt obviously leading the way in passing for the Sun Devils. You see that there. Raleek Brown, really speedy. Think Jacoby Williams there when you see him play. And then the best wide receiver in the Big 12, I don't think it's particularly close, in Jordan Tyson for those Texas Tech men's basketball fans. Yes, he is the brother of Jalen Tyson, who is now playing for the Cleveland Cavaliers. But you look at this, Texas Tech, they're going to have their hands full if Sam Leavitt does play. And now the most interesting aspect of this for the Sun Devils is Sam Leavitt is dealing with a high ankle sprain. And we'll look at the odds here in a minute. It does not look like Vegas thinks he will play. But again, he is taking the first-team reps for the Sun Devils so far during their prep week leading up to the Texas Tech game. How mobile is Sam Leavitt? That's going to be the major question. He is their second leading rusher for the Sun Devils this year. And really the beauty in Sam Leavitt's game is he is a solid passer, but he can absolutely abuse a defense by extending a play and really getting out into space and making sure those long drives really happen because he gets that extra third down. He's also an absolute assassin in the red zone when it comes to using his feet. You can see that with the 5 touchdowns he has on the ground already. So you look at that, 13 in terms of total touchdowns, 3 interceptions so far this year for Sam Leavitt. Now, Raleek Brown, as I mentioned, he is the leading rusher for the Sun Devils. He kind of reminds me a lot more of Jacoby Williams, a little bit more of like Jacoby Williams in terms of skill set, but in terms of build, think a shorter Cam Dickey. That's kind of where we're at with him. He's a really good player and a guy that I would really, really focus on if I was Texas Tech. Obviously, in the passing game, this is Jordan Tyson, and that's no disrespect to other guys they have in that wide receiver room. Jordan Tyson is a bona fide superstar at the wide receiver position, not only in the Big 12, but in college football. He more than likely, ladies and gentlemen, will be the number 1 overall wide receiver taken in the 2026 NFL draft. He's that good. Okay, he is a guy that you need to know where he is at all times and is easily, I mean easily, the biggest test for the Red Raiders secondary so far this season. I mean, 47 receptions, damn near 30 more than anyone else on the team, 30 more than anybody else not in the running back room, right? 523 yards, 11 yards per reception, and 7 tutties. He's a bona fide superstar. Okay, kicking game is solid for the Sun Devils, a little bit better than it was last year when they had to audition some players. But again, not crazy, 75%. And he's been decent in terms of making long-range kicks. You see him on the screen right there. Jesus Gomez, he's 3 for 6 from further than 40 yards. So that's something to keep in mind if the Sun Devils actually do get into Texas Tech territory. You look at the defensive side of this, Keyshawn Elliott, really solid player. I like this linebacker duo quite a bit. You got JC and Elliott there. Those guys are really solid linebackers. They fly around. They're not afraid to lay, helmet to really any part of the body in terms of getting dirty in the run game, and they can also cover a little bit as well. When it comes to the secondary, the guy that I am looking at is Miles Rouser. He's also a really solid tackler, but I'm a big proponent here on the channel. Like, hey, if you are really high in terms of tackles and you play in the secondary, that's not a big, hey, that's a good thing for the defensive line of the opposing team. Now, for me, when I look at this and I think about, okay, where do these teams match up in terms of overall offense after we talked about where the Sun Devils are at from a player perspective, right? This is where we're going to move to. We're going to move to the Big 12 site over here. And Texas Tech is the #1 overall offense in the Big 12, averaging 47.5 points per game. You're going to have to scroll down quite a bit to see Arizona State down there averaging 26 points per game. Texas Tech also has the best scoring defense in the Big 12, allowing opponents to score 12.2 points per game. Arizona State allowing teams to score just south of 25 points per game. We go over to totals in terms of yards. Texas Tech, once again, #1 on the offensive side by a pretty damn big margin, more than 60-plus yards compared to Baylor. Then you go down to number 11 in the conference, Arizona State, just under 400 yards of total offense per game. There is a 150-plus yard discrepancy in terms of what Texas Tech is averaging per game offensively compared to Arizona State. And I'll tell you this right now, if Jeff Sims is the quarterback for the Arizona State Sun Devils against the Red Raiders, there is a 0.00, keep going, 1% chance that they get to 400 total yards of offense. I just don't see it because, again, you look over at the defensive side, and the Red Raiders have the best defense in terms of yards allowed per game in the Big 12. And it's very visible on film that they are that good. Offensively, when you look at this from a rushing perspective, Texas Tech, Arizona State, not too far apart. The Red Raiders at 232.8 yards per game. You've got Arizona State at 205.3. The difference, Texas Tech allows only 62.5 yards rushing per game. Arizona State is #3 in the Big 12 in terms of yards allowed on the ground, but they're at 111. Almost double what Texas Tech has right there. So it's going to be very interesting, and I think that this is where Arizona State could potentially force Texas Tech to pass the football. But that being said, you look at that, and Texas Tech, pretty damn good at passing the football, right? Second in the Big 12 in terms of passing yards per game, 325. Arizona State, third to last, not even 200 passing yards per game. And then you go over to the defensive side of it. Arizona State, pedestrian at 225. Texas Tech at 194 overall there. So really, when I look at this game for the Red Raiders, I'm interested to see if it's Baron Morton. Even if it's Will Hammond, I think the Red Raiders could attack that Arizona State secondary and really force them to collapse and respect the run game, and that's going to open things up for the likes of Reggie Virgil, Caleb Payday Douglas, Coy Aiken, and then Terrence Carter Jr. down the field. I think the two guys I'm watching for most in this football game in terms of making a sizable impact is Terrence Carter Jr., and then this screams of a Reggie Virgil game to me. I think Reggie Virgil is going to be able to take the top off of this Arizona State Sun Devil defense and really allow Will Hammond or Baron Morton, and it sounds like it's going to be trending towards Baron Morton, according to Joey McGuire. If Baron Morton is the starting quarterback, he's going to be able to find Reggie Virgil down deep because of that 4.3 speed that Reggie Virgil possesses. And then you've got Terrence Carter Jr. I think he can really, really abuse the Arizona State medium-level defense right there. Above the linebackers, below the secondary, I think that's where Texas Tech can thrive. And don't get it twisted. They're going to be pretty good in terms of running the ball as well in this one. Cam Dickey, Jacoby Williams. I could see this being more of a Jacoby Williams game, though. I think Texas Tech is going to have to bounce outside here a little bit, and that's where they're really going to thrive because of that linebacker duo that Arizona State does have. All right, let's go ahead and look at the odds for this one because there's a really interesting aspect of this. So you see it on your screen right there. Texas Tech is 9.5-point favorites with a 49.5 over under. Now, this opened at Texas Tech 4.5, okay? It skyrocketed because of the Sam Leavitt news all the way up to 13.5. Now, with the Sam Leavitt news that he could potentially be playing or is getting all of the first-team reps in practice, it has now shifted down to 9.5. Either way, the Red Raiders are heavy favorites in this matchup, and rightfully so. They have the better offense. They have the better defense. Their special teams are better, right? And they have a more healthy quarterback in the sense of what he is good at. And if the starting quarterbacks don't start for either team, and that is a sizable if right now, the Red Raiders are in a much better position in terms of the backup quarterback making a better impact and getting close to what that offense does on a regular basis compared to, well, Jeff Sims, who he's not a good quarterback. He's just not. I don't know any other way to say it. And I'm not trying to be mean. It's just he's just not a good quarterback. So you see that Texas Tech is 9.5-point favorites, 49.5 over under in this game. I'll be honest, even if Sam Leavitt plays, the Red Raiders are going to have to do a good job of containing him and limiting those ability to really go out and extend drives on third downs, on that 3rd and 5 where you think you got him. Secondary plays great, wiggles his way out, extended drive. You're going to have to watch that, right? But I'm also curious to see just how healthy Sam Leavitt is. Again, this is a high ankle sprain. He practiced all last week and didn't play. He's practicing this week. Does he play on Saturday? That's the biggest question mark coming into this game. So I'm going to give you 2 predictions. One where Sam Leavitt plays and one where he does not, okay? If Baron Morton and Sam Leavitt both start for their respective teams, obviously for the Red Raiders, and, well, Baron Morton for the Red Raiders, Sam Leavitt for the Sun Devils, I think Texas Tech wins, okay? I think Texas Tech probably wins 31-20 if Sam Leavitt plays, okay? They cover that 9.5. Now, if Sam Leavitt doesn't play and it's Jeff Sims, I think it gets ugly. And I don't know if this Arizona State team can get to the 10 points that they scored against Utah last week. So if Jeff Sims starts for Arizona State, I think Texas Tech opens a can of whoop-you-know-what, BTA type material, and beats Arizona State 38-7. I think it could get that bad, okay, for the Sun Devils. That being said, right now there's no reason not to think that Sam Leavitt won't play. I don't know how likely it is, but him going through the process of practice, I think you have to think he's going to play and then realize, okay, maybe he doesn't later on. But Texas Tech, Joey McGuire have said they are focusing and planning on Sam Leavitt playing in this game, and rightfully so. They can make the adjustments for Jeff Sims later on, but it's going to be a good one out in Tempe as Texas Tech looks to continue to stay atop of the Big 12 and really set the tone, as they are one of only 2 teams in the country with minus odds to win their respective conference. The only other, the Miami Hurricanes. Texas Tech is in a prime position to be playing in Arlington, but they have to handle business one game at a time, and that one game at a time is out in Tempe this week against Coach Dillingham in the Arizona State Sun Devils. All right, that's going to do it for today's video. If you haven't already, let me know your score prediction down on the pinned comment below or just in the comments in general. And while you're down there, you might as well like the video and hit that subscribe button. We're on our way to 13K, people. Y'all have been great. We've had the most successful month on this channel that we have ever had, right? Why not join it now? Texas Tech football is great. Texas Tech men's basketball is great. There's a ton of other teams on campus that are balling out as well. This is the place for you if you are a part of Red Raider Nation for 100% free content and daily content at that. So be sure to like the video and hit that subscribe button. I'm RC Maxfield reminding you, as always, stay safe and Wreck 'em Tech.